See, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. That everybody get dirt put on. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, please know God is always with you.
Pain isn't always bad. Sometimes it's good. Because you remember that pain and that hurt, and it pushes you to be great. There's times where you think, is there anything that can justify as to why I'm always going through something hard? Sometimes nothing ever makes sense that you're going through. I'm going through hurt. I'm going through pain. There's death in my family. There's sickness everywhere. But I tell you what, you can't throw in the towel. You can't give up. It just means it's time for you to fight harder. It's time for you to stand tall. Lift your head to the sky and say, I will overcome this. I will fight back. There's always something good that can come from bad. Why would you live a life with a negative mindset, with a negative attitude, when this life is great and you can become someone great just by the way you think, act, or react to things that happen to you? Everybody fundamentally has the same reality that you have, but we all don't react the same to things that happen to us. Deep down inside, there's greatness in each and every one of us. It depends on you if you find that greatness. But I tell you what, it's inside of you, and it's burning to come out.
When you're working on a dream, at some point in time, a transition takes place. And the transition is what you are becoming in pursuit of the dream. Because even if you don't get the dream, you become such a strong and powerful person. It will so change your life, you can look at something else and say, well, I think I'll go do this then. Because you've now developed yourself in such confidence and such competence in how to deal in the arena of life that you can move into another area and not miss a beat. Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life. And most people avoid the struggle. Most people go through life avoiding pain. And when you go through life like that, something in you dies. Something in you that you never activate is lying dormant in there, that you never get a chance to call on because you have not challenged yourself.
Every value in life must be paid for. And those that pay are the ones that get it. It says those that give receive. Someone says, I wish to receive, I wish to receive. You don't have to concentrate on receiving. Just become a good giver. It says those that search will find. Someone says, well, I need to find some good ideas to help change my life for the future. Then to find good ideas, that doesn't come because you need them, because it comes because you search for them. If you want good ideas, you got to go after them. You got to go to the class, you got to go to the workshop, you got to go to the training, go to the book, right? You got to go to the journal, right? Go where good ideas are being taught, go searching, go looking, because good ideas are not going to be wasted on those that are not seeking, searching, well prepared. So, prepare yourself to be ready for fortune when it comes, to be ready for challenge when it comes, to be ready for opportunity when it comes. Opportunity comes along and passes by the person that is not well prepared. How could my ideas be more powerful? How could they be sharper, more clear? How could I reach some people next year that I perhaps can't reach this year? I haven't reached deep enough into my own soul to affect some people. Some people just pass by and say, hey, what a good speech. But how could I make it stronger than that, deeper than that, more powerful than that? I cannot be as powerful as I could be next year. You know, you can't go to the 10th grade in the 5th grade. You just got to go through the grades. But the more you are prepared, when the 10th grade finally comes, now you can cash in and get 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more value from it by being prepared.
until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances, after a while, something begins to wither inside of you.
You're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have a lot of trials and challenges, and everybody has the turn back moment. Where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back.
And what we have got to do is know there's a power in you that regardless of what happens to you, you can stand up inside of yourself. I think that's what the poet meant when he says, out of the night that covers me, like as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. You have an unconquerable soul.
See, some people quit because things are out of control. The moment you get in something where you don't get your way, or it's bad conditions or bad circumstances, the first thing the immature mind says is, this is ridiculous, I quit. I never will forget. I had a friend of mine who was much older than me, who was going through a real tough time in his marriage. I told him, you ought to get out. I watched him suffer so bad, I thought you ought to quit. He was so lonely that he got a dog and named it Friend. And I watched him take so many blows in his heart, in his masculinity, that it was so hard to watch. I wanted him to divorce her so I didn't have to see it. He stayed, and things got worse. And then sickness came in, and then it got really bad. And he stuck it out to the end. I mean, to the end. And I was at the funeral, and I remember thinking, you finished. You went all the way to the end. Better and worse, and sickness and health. You went through all of that stuff. It was amazing to see somebody who finished. The danger of living a life of incompletes. Nobody can count on you to stay. Forget winning. To stay. You don't have to be a superhero to stick it out, to endure. They used to come in my office and say, I'm leaving him because he's beating me. I'm leaving him because he's homicidal. Now they come in my office, they say, I'm leaving because I'm not happy. Who told you you was gonna be happy? Who do you know in your life that is happy all the time? To the person who keeps quitting, you have to live with that infection that you carry, that propensity to never finish. Are there any fighters in here? I fought my way up. I fought to get to work. I fought to stand. I fought to carry on. I fought to love. I fought to get out the bed. I fought with my fears, my anxieties, my insecurities. I fought with haters, backbiters, and betrayers. And many times I laid in the bed, I couldn't go to sleep because I was fighting with myself. I fought a good fight. You might not have seen it. You saw the glamour. But let me tell you what you didn't see. I fought to do that. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of money. Down on my knees, I was still believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed, I was. Touch three people, tell them, keep the faith, keep the faith. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you got heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a new heart, but you got to keep your faith.
Just keep walking, keep praising, keep thanking. That's when the miracle is going to take place. You can't go by what you see, go by what God promised you. My business is still slow. Keep on walking. These people at work are still not treating me right. Keep on walking. God sees your obedience. He hears you praising when you could be complaining. He sees you stretching when you could be shrinking back. As you keep walking, you're going to see God show out in your life. When you prove to God that you're going to do the right thing even when it's hard, then you're going to see God do awesome things in your life. Don't talk yourself out of what you know God is telling you to do. Sometimes it seems ordinary. You're asking God to promote you. He's saying, get to work on time. You're asking God for healing. He's saying, eat healthier, exercise, get more sleep. It doesn't have to make sense. That's what faith is all about. Faith makes room for provision. You can't wait till it happens. You have to make room for it when you don't see any sign of it. You have to talk like it's on the way. Think like it's on the way. Are you missing your miracle because you're reasoning everything out? You're looking at it all in the natural? God is supernatural. After Moses died, God raised up Joshua to lead the Israelites. The earlier generation never made it into the promised land. Now the children of that generation had grown up. They were headed to the promised land, but they had to cross the Jordan River. The problem was, it was the rainy season, and the Jordan was in flood stage, with violent currents rushing down from the melting snow. Joshua was familiar with this type of scene. He was there when Moses held up his staff and the Red Sea parted. When these 2 million people came to the Jordan River and saw how swollen it was, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. I can imagine Joshua did like his mentor Moses. He held up his rod and said, Lord, please let these waters part. But nothing happened. God promised Joshua, as I was with Moses, I will be with you. He didn't say, I'm going to do for you everything I did for Moses. There's a distinct calling on your life. You don't have to copy someone else, try to be what they are. Walk in your own anointing. Walk in your own calling. Joshua had to make a decision. Are we going to turn around and go back, or are we going to keep walking? Joshua's attitude was, we've come too far to stop now. Instead of turning back, he told all the people, let's keep walking. I can hear them say, excuse me, Joshua, do you not see there's a violent, raging river? There's nowhere to go? Joshua acted like he didn't hear them. There will always be people that try to convince you to turn back. You have to do like Joshua and have a made-up mind. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to become all I was created to be. They looked back at Joshua one last time, thinking surely he's going to retreat now. Joshua answered with 3 simple words, keep on walking. The scripture says, when their feet got wet, suddenly the waters begin to push back. Miracles happen when there's obedience. God doesn't give us all the details. May not happen like you've seen happen with your family. Like Joshua, every circumstance may say, it's not going to turn around. Go back. You'll never get well. It would have happened by now. Don't believe those lies. Keep walking.
Ultimately, if you're going to have lasting change in anything, you're really talking about just raising your standards. I mean, I always tell people, if you want to know how to change your life, I give it to you in 3 words, boring as it sounds, raise your standards. And what does that mean? Corny as it sounds. Raise your standards. Oh, thank you for the breakthrough thought, Tony. I'm glad I wasted my time watching this little email with you. But think about it. Lasting change is different than a goal. You don't always get your goals, but you always get your standards. Maybe it would help you is to think about it this way. I try to explain standards to people with a different set of words. Think of it as everybody in life gets their musts. They don't get their shoulds.
You can learn all the techniques in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, it won't happen for you.
Jot these questions down. Question number 1, what makes life valuable? Interesting philosophical question. What makes life valuable? Human life. Now that we find ourselves on this spinning planet, a chance to live a human life, what would make it valuable? Second question, what makes life worthwhile? Third question, what makes life work well? Good practical question. Now under work well, we could put, spiritually, socially, personally, economically, physically. There's a lot of different aspects to making life work well. But that'll suffice because those questions I think are very vitally important. What makes life worthwhile? What makes it valuable? What makes it work well? And all the aspects. If your life doesn't work well in some aspects, what would you fix? And I've got some good answers on that. There's usually about a half a dozen things that makes 80% of the difference. That's the formula.
You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again. And I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
One thing I've learned in the last, 33 years of working with people from now over 100 countries, 4 million people, is human beings absolutely follow through on who they believe they are. Most people, if they really look at how they're living their life today, it's based on a set of standards, a set of beliefs that they made choices about 10, 20, 30 or more years ago. I mean, very often we made decisions in our youth or very young about what to believe, about what we were capable of, about who we are as a person, and that becomes the glass ceiling, if you will, that controls us.
The other thing is take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them.
So let me give you an example. Now, you said you're the king of hustle, right? But I would actually debate that. When I talk about hustle, I talk about the people who believe that you have to work an ungodly number of hours to be successful. There is a much healthier way. So there are two different types of people who are talking about entrepreneurship today. There's the type of people who talk about entrepreneurship purely in the physical sense. It's about the number of hours you work. It's about the number of phone calls. And of course, hard work has its place. But then you see the rise of books by people like Michael Singer, who wrote the book, The Surrender Experiment. And if you read the book, it's kind of cool. This guy built a billion-dollar software company, and he talks about how he did that by surrendering, by going within, by having a daily meditation practice. Now, in your case, I believe you're doing it. You're also moving to that approach, but you're doing it unconsciously. When I listened to you speak at A-Fest, and you spoke about how you sit down, you relax, and you thinkitate, and these ideas come into you, you're tapping into something. Tom, you're tapping into your intuition. That is a far more efficient way than trying to hustle to get these ideas. You're going within. So you're already doing one of the first steps. Now, the second part is how can you optimize your rate of going from idea to reality. That's the second part of bending reality. And there are a significant number of tools that you can put into play to help you do that by working on your inner states. For example, one is creative visualization. There are so many studies that show that what you visualize in your mind, you can help accelerate in the world. For example, one study called the finger abduction experiment basically had people exercise their fingers, okay, like physically exercising fingers, and then a control group of people visualize themselves exercising their fingers. And what they found is that one group grew finger strength by, let's say about 10%, the other group by 9%, really close, just by visualizing their fingers. Now, the same thing happens in sales. You can actually accelerate your sales closing rate by visualizing the outcome. And we don't really understand how it works, but we know it works. And the same thing happens in your entrepreneurial life. When you get a clear vision of the business you want to create, of the lifestyle you want to create, you move towards that faster. And so meditation to me is not just about going zen. It's not just about like focusing on your breathing. It's about knowing how to tap in, which you do so well, and then knowing how to get clear on what you want and to focus on that vision for a few minutes every day.
I am afraid that too many times we have put so much focus on teaching you to be good seed that we haven't taught you the power of good soil. And so when we come to soil issues, the seed ignores the soil. We flick the channel. That has nothing to do with me. We close our eyes because we have been taught to be good seed, but we have not been taught to pay attention to soil. And yet the Bible is clear. Jesus says the soil went forth sowing seed. And some fell by the wayside. Some fell amongst rocks. Some fell amongst thorns. The whole text is about environment. Look at you and look at your environment. Have you been positioned to flourish? Positioning has a lot to do with flourishing. To be in an environment, in a family that supports you. My sister and I were talking the other day. I was telling her what an amazing person she is, that all of our lives together and all the things that God did in my life, not once in all of the years that I've known her, and she was there when Mama had me, have I ever known her to be jealous of me. Not once, not ever. She has always been my cheerleader and my greatest fan. And she said, how could I be jealous of you? You're my brother. I said, a lot of people have siblings that hate them, that are jealous of them, that hope they choke. And some of my development has to be that God planted me in an environment of people that supported me. My brother, my sister, my mother, my father, they all supported me. You can have good seed, but if you've been in bad soil, people who hated you, environments that denied you, education that underserved you, communities that limited you, mentalities that poisoned you. Oh, do you hear what I'm saying? If your soil wasn't right, it doesn't mean that you're not right, but if your soil wasn't right, it's going to affect how you root and how you grow. And you might grow a little bit. The Bible says you can grow for a while, but then the thorns will choke you out, or the rocks will not have enough soil for your roots to grow. Are you blaming God for something you ought to be blaming the soil for? You cannot take a peach seed and plant it in a teaspoon of dirt and expect it to grow. Though the teaspoon of the dirt is the same size as the peach seed, it will not grow. The seed will only grow when it is planted in something bigger than itself. And I want to know, where are you planted this morning? Are you planted in something bigger than you? Or have you always been planted in teacups? Surrounded by little dirt, little resources, small-minded people, narrow, limited places that never let you stretch to reach your capacity. Sometimes you gotta go where the corn is.
The best place is actually our podcast. Is Quick Brain, K-W-I-K Brain. It's really my last name. I didn't change it to do what I did. It's my father's name, my grandfather's name, but this is a new venture for us. We publish a couple episodes a week, and it's really, every episode is less than 20 minutes. It's to be able to say that these are brain hacks for busy people who want to learn faster and achieve more. Everything from read a book a week to remember people's names to my top 10 favorite brain foods to how to eliminate or add new habits. That's the best place. People go to quickbrain.com and they could join our private Facebook group there and post questions for future episodes, and also download free. We give them $100 worth of brain training as a gift. Or any social media. You know I love our social media. So anything at Jim Quick on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
People want to know how to stop the laziness, and they want to know how to stop the procrastination. They have some idea in their head, some kind of a vision of what they want to do, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start it, you know? They don't know where to start. And so they say, hey, where do I start? And when's the best time to start? And I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now.
God may be giving you more to work with than what you are working with at this time. You may have far more things that you can potentially do than what you're doing right now. That's why I don't like to hang with low-thinking people, because they'll make you underutilize what God has given you. You need somebody to challenge you that you could be doing more than what you're doing right now. You could have more than you have right now, and somebody's got to be bold enough to look you in the face and empower you to go into the enemy's camp and take back what he stole from you.
For every time you have a plan, a dream, an aspiration, or a goal, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life. Life is hard. It happens to everybody. Life has disappointment. It's got peaks and valleys. You're going to lose somebody you care about one day. That's a valley. Somebody going to close the plant you thought was going to stay open so you could retire. That's a valley. Somebody going to fire you for an unjust cause. That's a valley. Because it's life. You can stop thinking that life fitting to be easy, because I got news for you, it ain't.
And those problems you think you've got right now, when do problems really become problems? My problem becomes a real problem when I lose my perspective. My problem becomes a real problem when I give up and I just say, forget it. Your problem becomes a real problem when you start feeling sorry for yourself and have a pity party. Your problem becomes a real problem when you get bitter and you start blaming everybody else for your unhappiness. That's the real problem.
Guys and gals, don't give up. Man, if you get to the point where you're kind of weary and you're going, I'm facing struggles at every turn, don't give up.
You just need some faith, man. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible.
But it's hard to let go of what you've been holding on to for so long, even if it's not working anymore. It's really hard to let go. It's like, beg you, see it differently. I beg you to let go. It's not normal. It's just old.
It's time to drop it and move forward. You may be a product of your past, but you don't have to be a prisoner of your past.
Everything that's inflexible and everything that's not ready, everything that's backwards and everything that's negative and everything that's carnal and everything that's holding me back, I refuse to take it over into another year and waste another new year with an old mind. The devil is a lie.
Just because you're used to it doesn't make it normal.
Some of you are taking too much time trying to convince people to love you that do not matter. Tolerating and trying to get people engaged that don't matter, that don't care, that are never ever going to help you get into your destiny.
I came to preach to somebody who everybody else might have given up on you, and life might not be where you want it to be, and you might not have been what you could have been, but it's not too late to become who you are.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all.
So what kind of courage do you have? Is yours sort of floating between depending on the situation? Or do you know the difference between right and wrong for your life? And you've made up your mind. Our mind is the control tower of our life. All of our decisions are there. And the truth is, whatever we are today is the result of what we've been thinking about all those years. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you don't like what's going on around you, maybe you should ask yourself the question, what am I thinking about? What do I think about myself? What do I think about other people? What we think about is really what controls us. This is the control tower, that everything else is a result of how we think. And we can't control everybody else in control of all of our circumstances, but we are going to respond to circumstances in one way or the other. And so what you have to ask is this: what is it that determines what I think? This mind of yours controls everything else in your life.
Are you satisfied with your life as it is? Are you? Is your life giving you what you want? If you had your life to live over again, could you have done more than what you've done thus far? When I ask audiences that, most people agree, yes, I could have done more. I know I could have done more. I've wasted a lot of valuable time. You're going to lose something, lose money. You can recapture that. Don't lose time. You can't get that back.
But I think being grateful probably is number one. If you've got a job, you got to be grateful. See, this isn't the greatest job in the world. Even if it's a transitional job getting you where you want to go, you got to be grateful. You don't have to love your job or be passionate about your job. Just passionate about staying steady, working hard, learning skills, doing this job so well that the next one will be even better, and taking such good care of this opportunity, another one will present itself.
What's next for me? After all of this, I don't think that things just happen. I believe that they happen just. We have a mindset. We don't want to be the same coming out of this. That you want some radical change. That this could be a major defining moment for you. A day that turns your life around.
If you have an extreme desire to wish to be successful so you can accomplish all you wish to accomplish, be as generous as you'd like to be as strong as you'd like to be. And I think if you say you have to find your passion, people find that a little bit confusing. Where would I find it, and what could I be passionate about? I guess you could start with saying, I'm passionate about providing unusual success for myself and for my family. Then I think the key is to let what you want to accomplish, let that grow. Where at first this is as far as you can see, but if you'll do that, you can say, wow, maybe I could multiply by 2, by 3, and expand my vision, accomplish a lot more.
Every single time I hear about an issue, every single time I hear another story of pain, every single time I see a seemingly impossible situation, I smile wryly because I know by the grace of God and by His power, I have a testimony. Come on, it is never too late.
Kiss that wrong self-image goodbye. Victory starts in your thinking. Abundance, it starts in our mind. You can't think the same way and expect different results. Start embracing who God says you are.
I want to tell you something today. The moment you make up your mind to get up, you can get up. And no devil in hell No government, no power, no boss, or anything else can hold you. Once you are free in your mind, you are free.
See, many things we don't do because of the fact we want people to like us. There's some necessary losses in life. When you decide acting in your best interest, you're going to lose some friends. Everybody's not going to approve of you. There's some people that won't like you. Who do you think you are? You're arrogant. What do you think you can do? You're selfish. Thanks, I got that.
Poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. The mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become.
Program your mind, because all that you will do or not do, have or not have, accomplish or not accomplish, will be a direct derivative of what's going on inside of your mind. So if you don't get clear thinking on an issue, you won't be able to develop in that area. Look at somebody say, it's time for a change. Well, what stops us? What stops us from making the changes that we need in our behavior, in our situation? It's the mind.
If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter. This decision is yours and yours alone.
You don't need everyone that you think you need. You're depending on too many people. You don't need all of your coworkers to support you. You don't have to have all your friends and family members cheering you on. The less you depend on people, the greater the anointing in your life.
If you've ever been good to somebody who wasn't good back, if you've ever poured yourself into an individual, a company, a place or thing, and didn't get the results you expected. If you've ever had a moment in your life that you have measured yourself and come up short, this message is for you. If you've ever given your best to somebody and they act like it wasn't nothing at all, then this one is for you.
Move on. Forget them. They are lying and they are untrustworthy, so move on. You got to see them for what they are. That person is not who you thought they were. So move on, and at the risk of sounding callous, get over it.
Are you discouraged because people are not giving you what they used to? It's because God's growing you up. Quit trying to get from people what only God can give. Go to Him for your value, your self-worth, for your encouragement. If you'll start passing these tests, not relying on people, you'll not only live more confident, more secure, but I believe and declare you're going to overcome obstacles that looked insurmountable, accomplish dreams that seemed impossible, and reach the fullness of your destiny.
You cannot hang out with a bunch of defeated, going nowhere, no vision men and be an overcomer. You are who you hang around. I want you to listen at them and think about you, because it is possible to develop a mentality to fit your environment that simply makes the best of a bad situation. I'm not happy. I'm not getting the most out of my life, so I'm going to bring my expectation down to my reality and enjoy the fact that at least they didn't carry me off to the morgue today. I'm still here.
No one is such a real enemy as a false friend. The worst thing you can do when somebody hurts you, listen, the worst thing you can do is to harbor your hurt, because harbored hurt becomes burden bitterness. Not most of the time, not a lot of the time, every single time. If somebody hurts you and you hold it in and you brood over it, harbored hurt becomes burden bitterness.
When someone breaks our trust, we question ourselves too. Like, we think my judgment's bad because I totally put my faith in this person and look what they did to me. So you got to build that trust up back again with yourself. How do you do that? Read, learn, work out, be alone. It's okay to be alone. It's okay. There's no big deal. Enjoy it. Do something productive and build that trust up in yourself. You know, look back at the situation, learn from it.
You must be very intentional and deliberate. You're not going to wake up one day and find a law degree. You're going to have to work for it.
And your problem is you wake up on Monday and you might be strong, but by Wednesday, you're not intentional and deliberate. You are hoping that the best is going to happen to you, and the best never happens to you.
If you look in the mirror tomorrow and say that, you will change. Because nobody likes thinking of themselves as a failure.
I don't want you to keep doing dumb stuff and say, my life is miserable. No, your life is not miserable. Your ability to make adjustments, to make corrections is messed up.
And you're too slow. You're too casual. You think too much. You need to get in a hurry. The separator is going to be who takes massive action quickly.
They print money. They don't print time. They don't print opportunities. You can lose money and get it back. You can't get time back. You can't get experiences back. Average people focus on money. The greats focus on time, because I can't get my time back.
If for 10 years, if you didn't avoid doing what you knew you needed to do, what would you be like? What would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be 10 times more efficient. You have no idea how efficient people get.
If you want to make your dream become reality, the people that are running at their dreams know that it's possible that you can live your dream, that it's necessary, that you're relentless, that you have a plan of action, that you are creative. The people that are living their dream are finding winners to attach themselves to. The people that are living their dreams are the people that know that if it's going to happen, it's up to them. And they're resolving within themselves, it's not over until I win. The people that are running after their dream know they're going to have hard times. They keep on running because they're saying within themselves, I'm the one. I'm the one. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. The people that are running after their dreams are the people that are hungry.
The key is time is precious. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their frequency and their intensity. Life is not just watching the clock tick away. Life is a collection of experiences, their intensity, their frequency. When should you start the day? As soon as you have it finished. Plan the day the best you can, leaving plenty of room for improvising and surprises and all the stuff that happens during the course of the day. But if you've planned a good, productive day, now you start that day, you can't believe how much more valuable your time will be. Don't start the day until you have it finished. Now here's the next one. Don't start the week until you've had it finished. Now to lay out a week is a pretty good challenge. And then here's the big one. This is really challenging. Don't start the year until you have it finished. To the best of your ability. It can't be finished like minute by minute. But in terms of the sweep of what you want to accomplish, make sure that that's set and ready to go by the time January 1st rolls around. And it might get all upset. It might get torn up and you do a new one. You make so much progress the first 90 days that now you've multiplied it all by 2, by 3. Because that happened to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great year. By the time I'd finished the 3rd month, I'm rolling, I'm soaring. So many things are happening, I revised my whole year's plan. Next key to time management. And that's work longer and harder. But see, there's a limit to that. I almost lost my health the first year. I went so crazy about personal development and achievement. I just went bonkers. You know, I told you I was skinny. By the end of that first year, I was a walking shadow. And then it suddenly occurred to me, what if I got rich and too ill to spend it? I mean, that was a shocker. So I started, you know, developing a little more reasonable. Because I said, if 12 hours won't do it, I'll work 14. If that won't do it, I'll work 18. I mean, how many hours it takes. And sure enough, it cost me too much. So see, working longer and harder for some might be appropriate. Here's the key, not to work harder, but smarter.
We give up so quickly. The first time we get turned away, we go home. The first person that doesn't like us, the first person that doesn't help us, the first time it gets a little hard, many of us are so quick to see disappointment as a dead end. If you can't get in, go up. If you can't get through on this level, go up to a higher level. Sometimes the reason God allows you to be restricted is because you're at the wrong level. And sometimes he'll put a disappointment in your life so you have to climb over it.
Restoration will come. Healing will come if you won't give up.
Anytime trouble comes, anytime heartache comes, anytime disappointment hits their life, rather than face it and walk through it, they quit, they back down, and they waste their pain. Pain has a purpose. Don't let your pain define you. Let your pain refine you.
Now, our job is not to be the person who exposes betrayers. Our job is to make sure that we stay resilient enough to know that betrayers are going to come and go, but we're going to walk by faith and not by sight. And we are going to forgive people. We are going to enjoy our life.
People, they go through something that was supposed to be a season, but instead of it being a season, it dictates their entire life. You met people that instead of getting better, they just got bitter because of the pain. Before you know it, their entire identity is wrapped around their issue. It's wrapped around this moment of heartache, this moment of disappointment. You've met people that have been betrayed by a friend, and instead of forgiving, instead of rising back up, instead of being the friend that they're looking for, they isolate and they back down. You meet people that their dreams never came to pass, and because the dreams never came to pass, they just now become a critic of anybody else who goes for their dreams.
Stay on your path, stay positive, stay encouraged, keep praying. I want you to start praying specific prayers, and that way you're going to start witnessing God bless you specifically. Don't feel like you're being greedy or over the top. It's beautiful to recognize when you're blessed, but it's okay to start asking for blessings. And so right now, in this era where we are, the people that are going to come out on top, the people that are going to get control of their destiny, the people that are going to maximize this place in history and be fortified in terms of their mental resolve and families and their skills and their ability to create incredible wealth, are people that are using their times more productively. The people who take the time to learn something new every day. If you're not willing to learn, nobody can help you. If you're willing to learn, no one can stop you.
80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective. The average person only spends 20% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, excited to do. And the rest of it is all the dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective and 20% of the things that are really effective if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do.
If you'll be faithful, if you'll be disciplined when the amounts are small, will make you a ruler, give you a position of authority when the amounts are many. Take care of your disciplines when the amounts are small, and then life will see to it that you get some extraordinary numbers to work with. Do not disregard the smallest of disciplines. Do not neglect the smallest of disciplines, and build on that foundation, and you can have everything you could possibly want. Get going.
Don't stop at where you are as if it were the destination, when in fact, in reality, it may be the transportation that brings you into that thing you were created to do.